The B.S Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects.
First of all,
This is the B.S Report with Bill Simmons.
it might be cool, I don't know. And if it's not, I don't care.
The B.S Report with Bill Simmons.
Bill Simmons works for ESPN. He's also named the sports guy, and he writes a comical sports column. He must be a popular dude.
The B.S Report.
It's got a real dirty sound, like a rusty steak knife cutting through a well-aged steak.
Now.
Here's Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the B.S Report, a sunny Monday here in Southern California. On the line, as always, every Monday. Cousin Sal, what's happening?
Yes, happy Veterans Day, too. We should say something nice about the people who fought for our country so we can make three-team teasers and fall all over ourselves.
Yeah, happy Veterans Day.
Yeah.
Veterans Day kind of has become an underrated holiday. I feel like it should mean more than Labor Day.
Yeah, I
from
think
an impact
too.
standpoint, right? But it's like all these ones get, but whatever we get a holiday off of, they all blend into the same holiday. But Veterans Day should be like, you know, at the top of the list.
Far more war-related deaths than work-related deaths, I would say. Am I saying deaths right? Yeah. So, yeah, I think Veterans Day is underrated. I don't know if we should dress up or what, but...
So, not underrated, three-team teasers and the lack of success. There was one yesterday that was the most obvious three-team teaser of the year. It was the the Patriots minus 11, the Niners minus 11, and the Steelers minus 12.5.
Mm-hmm.
And you just look at it and you go, all right, well, that's free money. But yeah, we know three-team teasers don't work. You and I talked about it on Saturday. We agreed that the Rams would be the team that screwed it up. Yeah. Both of us made the tease anyway, because that's what we do.
We do. And, you know, well, should I review our conversation? Because I do have it on tape. And, yeah, it did more in a phone call. So let me just get this out of the way. And I feel like I pile on you and your voice. So for the purposes of this call, I'm going to give myself a horrible, horrible British accent, okay?
Okay.
All right. Cheerio, Cousin Sal. Ah, yes, sportsish guy. I've been expecting your telephone correspondence. How are you, love? I'm doing fine. I got a question for you. I know we're done with three-team teasers, but let me run this one by you. Pittsburgh, New England, and San Fran, all just to win. Who blows that for us? No one, my good lad. No one blows it. It's what they call a guaranteed lock. That's what I thought. Let's empty our 401ks on it. Done. Ta. Excellent. Sports guy over and out. Colin Kaepernick. There you go.
Yeah, and you forget the part where I also used those three teams and put them with other teams that I liked. So that was fun, too.
You know what?
Like Seattle.
The best part is, like, New England went to 13.5. So when we had it at minus 1,
11,
2 on
yeah.
the teams, I was like, all right, we already won. Because that's the thing with the three-team teasers. You want it to be under. You want to give under a field goal. So, but no, we lost it.
My whole plan was to, after the Pats took care of their side, to then bet the Rams plus whatever, just like the spread, just to cover it so I didn't get screwed.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Pats game got close there near the end, and then Atlanta and I just forgot.
Yeah, absolutely. And you
Stuff
know what?
happened. Yeah.
Here's the thing. We almost, as rare as it is to win a three-team teaser, we almost always go 2-1 on three-team teasers. So I know it's pretty hefty, but load up on the Steelers' money line tonight.
Well, that's the thing. If you work backwards, the Steelers were the one team there's just no way they're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So then at that point it goes Bills the Bills could screw you, the Rams could screw you. And the way it was positioned was perfect because it's like, all right, if we get through this Pats game, now here comes the game where we could get screwed. Mm-hmm. And that's when you should hedge it, and it just screwed up. But, you know, it did take a team successfully executing 2 fake punts. I mean, it was that kind of game. The Rams successfully executed 2 fake punts in that game.
One from their end zone. Both from their side of the field.
And the second one with like 5 minutes left, they're down, I think, 4. There's 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
And they're like right close to midfield. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, the Niners just were blindsided by another fake punt. Just never didn't see that coming.
Field goal. Now the big question is, and we're up against this too, with many suicide or elimination pools. What happens in this if you have the Niners? Because that was a popular choice yesterday.
Yeah, we haven't had a tie in 4 years.
Right.
Yeah, so there's
Eagles.
yeah, you got the elimination pool part. You have like we're in this team wins pool part where it's 10 guys. We each pick 3 teams. We talked about it in the podcast before, but never did we put in the caveat of what happens if there's a tie. I guess it's a half win. Feels weird.
I think so too, and with these elimination pools, I think you should have to lose to be eliminated. I don't know. We're always on these out to get everybody things, but maybe we should have Jeff Probst decide who wins the Survivor pool on a tie.
Yeah, I mean, so the pools are called Survivor, Suicide Pool, Elimination Pool, whatever. But I always was under the impression you had to lose to get your team knocked out. I'm actually at the winner or tie. I think you advance.
Right,
That would be my rule.
I survived. I didn't lose again. I survived. Yeah.
Either way, I feel like we should have been able to vote on this during last week's elections. Probably should have been on the ballot, like Prop 82 or something.
Yeah, it's more important than the porn stars wearing condoms or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that was on our ballot, wasn't it?
Yeah, I felt a little weird handing that to my 105-year-old ballot taker right afterwards. But
I voted no. They shouldn't. They shouldn't have to. I just was so appalled that was on my ballot that I just went with the no.
Yeah,
just
I
as
didn't
a
care, and I
protest.
thought of our friend Corolla, who hates seeing that stuff. So I was like, all right.
You voted no for Corolla.
Exactly. Corolla.
Your Cowboys. There's about 15 minutes there yesterday when it seemed like the Nick Foles era. Like it had all the makings of, oh man, this freaking Eagles team is Vic gets concussion at the perfect time. Here comes Nick Foles. They're gonna save their season. And then you forget the part where they can't block anybody. And it doesn't matter who you put behind the line.
There was a lot going on in that game, and at one point the last 2 minutes didn't matter, but the 2 minutes before the half, when you had Andy Reid against Jason Garrett squaring off, and Cowboys had a 2nd and 1 and called 2 terrible plays, couldn't convert, and then don't even line up. I mean, we're at the 38. We don't even line up to try to draw them off sides, which is one of the things that gets me craziest.
Yeah.
We just punt from there, and then on the other side, Reid, really should just run out the clock. He's at his own 10, and he's going out of bounds. He's giving the Cowboys another chance. I'm like, oh boy, this could go on forever and ever. But
yeah,
the Eagles, we just found someone as incompetent as us, I think the Cowboys did. And I don't know, Foles could be okay, but I didn't like that he gained his confidence through ticky-tack pass interference calls. It's one thing if a guy completes a nice 25-yarder over the middle, but he was sort of just chucking it up at the end, and that might have been the angriest I was all year when Macklin caught that touchdown, rolling right, Nerf football play. I was like,
right,
we're done.
The Eagles aren't good.
No.
And it's amazing how much Asamoah slipped and all these guys that people thought were these all-pro caliber guys, and then one by one just have fallen by the wayside. But it did after the way the Giants played in that Bengals game. That Cowboys-Eagles game went from a game that didn't seem important at all in any way to all of a sudden what if 9-7 takes that division?
Yeah, well, that's the only hope because the things with the 4 and 5 teams is you only have room to make one more loss in wild card implications. But yeah, 9-7 could possibly take it. Oh, Des Bryant, if his fingers were just a quarter inch shorter, would have been top of the division.
And we should point out that the Giants do this every year, and they're not fooling anybody this year with the November swoon. And but they are 6-4 now, and they're only they're a game and a half ahead of your Cowboys.
They are a game and a half, and they're one of the bye teams this week. So yeah.
And who does your team play? I forget.
We play Cleveland.
Yeah, so you could be a game back. You've already split the season series with them.
Right.
And man, the Eagles and Redskins at 3-6.
And they play each other. They play each other this week, so one of them's done.
You can't go 5-1 the rest of the way. I don't feel like your team's not.
I don't think so.
You can go 4-2.
New Orleans, Pittsburgh on the schedule. I think we get tripped up once in there. I'm not looking past Cleveland either. They played Baltimore close twice.
Yeah.
They beat Cincinnati. They beat the Bills. They played the Giants tough in the beginning. Nothing's easy on the schedule. I would think the Saints have a better shot at a wild card than the Cowboys.
Yeah, you have to win your division.
Yeah.
Because my beloved Seahawks now 6-4, and looking, and they still have the Niners at home. They're not out of it for that division.
I was thinking, how great would that be? See, I'm torn here because you have the whole Packers thing with that garbage win they had. So I'm not rooting too hard for them because that stinks. But that's a fun playoff home game right there, right? Seattle, there's nothing better.
Yeah, it would be fun if they were somehow able to get a 3 seed. They'd need some luck. The Niners play the Bears this Monday, and that looked like, you chalk that up as a probable loss, but now if Jason Campbell's involved, I'll tell you, there's a couple teams that I think we had 2 weeks ago, we had the conversation about, all right, who are definitely the playoff teams. I think we had the Giants and the Bears as definite locks to make the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if the Bears are a lock.
The Bears might not be.
I'm trying not to overreact from that game, but when you look at the way Tampa's playing, you look at the way Seattle's playing, there's a real chance that 11 wins could be a wild card team this year. The Bears are home they're at San Francisco.
Yeah.
That's probably a loss now with Jason Campbell or even with a concussed Jay Cutler. So now they have 3 losses. Home for Minnesota, home for Seattle, at Minnesota, home for Green Bay, at Arizona, at Detroit. I mean, they could get to 5 losses, and what you don't want is you don't want to get into that whole 3-way tie thing because especially the key game for them is home for Seattle December 2nd.
Yeah, home for Seattle, at Arizona. Have to be wins, I think, and home for Minnesota.
But if they lose that Seattle game, and then the Bears and Seattle are both 11-5, and that's the wild card tiebreaker, they're screwed.
But who are you looking at as the other wild card team?
Well, I was looking at
no one from the East. I don't think you think Minnesota.
No, I was looking at Tampa actually.
Oh, all right.
I know they're 2 back, but man, Tampa looks like a juggernaut.
They do. I looked at their schedule this morning because I had a feeling we'd talk about this. And at Carolina could be a win.
That's a win.
Atlanta.
I think they win that.
At Denver.
Loss.
Philly.
Win.
At New Orleans.
Maybe a loss, but they could also win it.
Home against St. Louis, and then at Atlanta in a game that might not matter to Atlanta.
At Atlanta against Atlanta's second string.
Could be, yeah.
So they're 5-4. They could conceivably get to 11-5.
Yeah, I guess I didn't consider them. We liked them in the beginning of the year, but I just wrote that their defense is playing very well now. I know the story is their offense, but they're good for a defensive score game now.
And just so the Bears fans don't get mad at me, I still think they're a prohibitive favorite to get into the playoffs. The point is, you would have bet your life on it 2 weeks ago, and now at least the door's a little bit open. I do think the Niners and Seahawks both get in.
Yeah.
I think the Seahawks are a playoff team, which delights me to no end since I played them up so well.
That's big for you. God, they're so good at home. They're so good. You don't even have to think about it. Take them. And
the other thing with the Seahawks, they got a free win. They really should be 5-5.
I know. Well, that's why. Like, what do you? Well, you're removed from it because you picked them to make the Super Bowl. So, but I wonder how many people are going to be rooting hard for them. An upstart team usually gets the momentum from the casual fan, but
Here's the rest of the way. They got a bye week. They're at Miami the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and Miami is now in the Ryan Tannehill thing just exploded yesterday. At Chicago, which will be their biggest game in this. That's their playoff game, basically.
Yeah.
Home for Arizona. At Buffalo. Home for San Fran. Home for the Rams.
Yeah.
So if they can get to those last 2 games at 9-5, and then they're in control of their own destiny at home, and they can get to, I think 11-5, they make it.
They make the wild card, yeah.
Yeah. I think 10-6 is possible.
Win the division, that would be nice, but I guess it's not happening.
Well, let's look at San Fran really quickly. So San Fran.
They have to have a tough schedule, don't they?
People from San Francisco hate when I say San Fran. I apologize. I can't help it. Home for Chicago Monday night.
Yeah.
At New Orleans. At St. Louis. Home for Miami. At New England. At Seattle.
Yeah.
Home for Arizona. They could blow 4 of those.
All their road games are tough.
So they're 6-2-1 right now. 10-5-1.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're 10-5-1 and Seattle's 11-5, Seattle obviously wins the
That
division.
stupid tie is going to factor in. For sure,
So
they're going to factor in something.
So 3 more losses. They'd have to lose 3 more times, and they could. Pats definitely. Well, not that. I shouldn't say that. I'm saying Pats, Seattle, and at New Orleans. They might be underdogs in all 3 of those games.
That'll be fun.
Hey,
Good. All right, I'm going to watch the rest of the year.
Yeah, you should. I'm glad you were on the fence before. Now you're going to watch.
That one out. Yeah.
One last thing before we get to the lines. Yeah. Jeff Fisher called the worst timeout of the year and possibly all time last night.
Well, I was trying to think of this. When was it again?
So they get a first down, goal to go from the 2.
Yeah.
They're down 4.
That's right.
And there's a minute 18 left, I think, a minute 20.
Yeah, I think it was a minute 13, and it was started to run. And, yeah, who cares if you run a play? You take 20 seconds there to run a play, right?
How about this? Just don't do anything. Let 40 seconds tick off and then call timeout.
Exactly.
Calls timeout immediately, and then they score, I think, on the next play or the second to next play or whatever, and the Niners they scored the next play because the Niners got the ball back with a minute 09 left.
They left too much time, and then they came back and tied with a field goal. Yeah, that was an awful call.
But, and then the 53-yard field goal, they get a delay of game.
Yeah, I feel like they let that go. I know it's 0. It's supposed to be before 0. But if it's 0 snap, I feel like that goes all the time.
We've seen it both ways. We've seen the team get screwed on that, and then we've seen the refs let it go. It really all depends on whether the dude in the end zone runs onto the field or not.
Right. Well, I think what happened is, they screwed up in the second quarter when they let like a minute and 20 seconds run off as they were measuring and never put the time back. So I think they were very sensitive towards the time issue from that point forward because they knew they were going to get crap for that.
One last thing. My picks have actually been pretty good the last few weeks. I've had really bad luck. I've been like 500 or a little bit better, but just bad luck week after week. Like every week I felt like I could have gone 10-6 or 11-5 and just got bad breaks. Or I should say 10-5 or 11.
And the troops today because I know that is that's tough sledding for you this year.
Well, yesterday it was horrible. I was somehow eked my way to 5-8 for the week, but I was on the other end of the 3 biggest blowouts. I had the Giants, I had the Dolphins, and then I had who was the other one? I had 3 where the Raiders. I love the Raiders yesterday. They lost by like 30.
Oh my God, yeah.
Not a good. I was really worried at one point that I was looking at like a 2-12, but I think
favorites were 6-7. Home dogs were 3-3 if you include the Jags, and double-digit favorites were back to normal. We're 0-2 plus whatever happens tonight.
Yeah, there hasn't really been trends for a couple weeks.
No,
We've kind of stabilized with every week.
Yeah, I try to get cute reading into the line, and it doesn't seem to work anymore. I feel like when we were in college and we would have taken Indy minus 3.5 over the Jags on a Thursday night in Jacksonville, we would have gotten slaughtered. And same with, who else was another? Oh, Denver just keeps covering on the road too. They can't make that line big enough for them.
Yeah, there's been a couple teams that this is kind of the year of clump gambling where you just decide what you're going to do for a team 4 weeks before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like Denver, you were either all in on after they lost those 3 games, and you were like, all right, they just lost to 3 of the best teams. They're going to make their run right now. Here comes the schedule, and I'm riding them week in, week out.
Yeah.
And kind of the same thing with the Saints. Like, Saints started out slow, but I think they come back. I'm going to ride them every week. Yeah. We've seen these little streaks. Like the Panthers had a streak, the Dolphins had a streak. Now the Giants are in a swoon.
I like that term, clump gambling. I hope that's when I'm finally arrested for that's where they leave me away in handcuffs. Like, yeah, he's probably going to do 3 to 5 for clump gambling.
I do. I like clump gambling as well. But I think the Bucks are in the middle of a nice little clump gambling cluster.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah. I don't think it's done yet. I think you have to know when to jump out. And I think the Bucks have one more big week left before the lines kind of catch up. Like
conversely with that, I think the Falcons, there's money to be made betting against them because they're a potent combination of having like a 3.5 game lead or whatever for the division.
Yep.
And they're not as good as everyone thinks. So I'd grab points wherever you could with them.
I had always remembered this happening starting week 11, and it felt like it started a week early this year with teams kind of easing up a little bit. Good teams.
Yeah.
Because it felt like the Niners yesterday was kind of one of those, we just have to show up and we're going to win performances. Then things went against them. Alex Smith gets hurt and whatever.
Did you feel that way about your Pats too? Because that's
I
sort of
did.
what I thought. Yeah.
I felt that way with the Pats. Like it was like, we killed this team by 30. We just have to show up. And so yeah, we have to watch out for that going forward. Let's hit the week 11 lines.
All right, week 11. I'm 6-3-1. It's a good year for me. The byes are Minnesota, Giants, Seattle, Tennessee. This is the last week for byes. Then we get a full slate.
So 3 of those teams won and don't need the bye, but the Giants, I think, desperately need the bye. Do you think Eli's hurt?
No, I want to say he's bad. Don't start rumors that he's hurt.
Doesn't look right.
Do you think he's hurt?
Doesn't look right.
I wish he would ever change his expression. Then we would know if he's hurt, he's happy, he's sad, he's content,
Remember, I don't think he's missed a start since he started. It's starting.
Oh, that's right. Let's keep that.
Wow, that was a great sentence. He hasn't missed a start since he started starting.
Yeah, it's good
but
to consider clump gambling. You have to know those things.
I think if you're clump gambling against the Giants, you might have to consider him being hurt.
That's right. All right, Thursday, Miami at Buffalo. I hit this one exactly.
You did?
Right off the bat, yeah. I didn't, and then the line moved down to what I picked.
I have the Bills by 1.5.
Oh, I said 1. Almost had it. It's sad that over the last 20 years, this game would only interest fans in 2 of those years. This used to be a nice rivalry.
One thing to watch out with that game, Fred Jackson got tagged right at the end of that Pats game.
He came out, right?
Yeah, I assume he has a concussion or whatever, but it's hard for me to imagine him.
Did they count 11 concussions yesterday? That's sick.
It's not good.
Too many.
It's kind of the elephant in the room of this season, right?
Yeah, I know.
These guys going down.
3 quarterbacks yesterday. God.
It makes you wonder, how many concussions were happening, as we were growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Especially, think back to the days when the head slap was legal and stuff like that, or you could just annihilate people over the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys must have just been thrown back in left and right.
Oh yeah, he got his bell rung. That's what they would say, and then they just put him back in.
Yeah. He took a licking there.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's and especially when it's a quarterback, the difference between Cutler and Jason Campbell was so dramatic last night. The game was just over. You said Jason Campbell throw 3 passes, oh man, I don't even need to watch this anymore.
Yeah, it's raining. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
All right, Sunday, Tampa Bay at Carolina. 2 Met opening week, 16-10. The Bucs took it.
Yeah. It's either 2.5 or 3, and I said 2.5.
All right, I said 2, and it's 1.5.
Oh.
Here we go.
This is a serious question. Why don't people believe in this Bucs team?
Yeah, they should, right?
I think they have a top 3 or 4 offense. Freeman looks fantastic. If you just threw out everything you knew about quarterbacks heading into this season and just watched the quarterbacks this season only, Freeman would be like a top 4 quarterback.
Yep. Doug Martin didn't even have a good game yesterday, and they ran it up.
I think he's been. Yeah, you're right. They got a couple of defensive plays that kind of kept their offense off the field, but I think the way Freeman has been playing has been kind of the most underrated story right now.
In Carolina, God, how do you bet them? They stole a win a couple weeks ago against the Redskins, I guess. But how do you put any kind of money on that team?
Yeah, they had a nice little run there, and it abruptly ended. Do you think we should call Josh Freeman Skinny Josh Freeman?
Ooh.
I feel like there's 2 Josh Freemans. We had normal Josh Freeman last year, and now it's like Skinny Josh Freeman.
Yeah.
They show him without the helmet, and it's like a different guy.
Maybe Fat Freeman. Fat-free. I don't know. We'll have to work on that.
All right.
Green Bay at Detroit. It's a fun game.
Yeah. The Lions aren't good. They're just not a good football team.
They don't play 4 quarters ever, right?
You know what's funny about the Lions is they were bad for years and years and years and years and years and years, and then they had one half decent year last year, And it's like we've totally forgotten that they were bad for all those years.
What's wrong with the Lions? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what's wrong? They haven't done anything. What are you talking about?
I think they have to get back to Thanksgiving form. They have to get back to where you expect them to be.
I'm hitting this exact. It's Packers 3.5.
You did hit it exact. Wow, I said 4. All right.
Yeah.
Sports guys on the board. Cleveland at Dallas.
Your boys. I have this right in the Vegas zone. Cowboys by 5.5.
Wow, I went higher. I'm still going to take this, I think. I went 8.5, and it's 7.5.
Oh, you did take that.
They went to Cleveland. Doesn't go on the road. They don't get less than 6 to anybody.
Hey, you know how I know I'm old?
What is it?
When they show the number 24 in the Cowboys, for a split second I keep thinking it's Everson Walls.
Everson Walls?
Yeah.
Larry Brown? Yeah.
Wasn't he number 24, Everson Walls?
Yeah,
I had like an
was.
Everson Walls flashback. I was like, oh god, this is like something up as old people.
He would have done a better job yesterday, I think.
I think he would have, because they kept showing 24, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But that was your number 6 overall draft pick, right?
Claymore? Oh yeah, we traded up for him. Yeah, it was.
He was a stiff yesterday.
It was bad times. I think he got picked on a little bit, but
really bad yesterday.
He was bad. I don't know what to do. Maybe he gets a little break with Brandon Weeden this week. Jacksonville at Houston.
Ooh.
This is also a rematch. 27-7, Houston won.
Yeah. The 14.5 is always that line they have when they know that nobody's going to take the underdog unless they put that half point on there, and I think that's what this is, 14.5.
All right, I said 37.5, and it's 39. Now, I said 15, and it's 16.
Oh, man. Biggest line of the year.
That is it, right?
Yeah.
Trying to look back.
Does that get higher? Does that go to 17?
I know this is a letdown game for Houston, but how could you bet Jacksonville at any point?
The worst sign ever for the Blaine Gabbert era was when Chad Henne came into that game, and the Jags kind of started moving the ball and looking crisper, and the announcer like, Chad Henne's really pumped some life. It's like, this is over.
Yeah.
If Chad Henne's pumping life into your team, that's not good.
Absolutely. It's going to be a roll. Arizona and Atlanta.
Can you think of anything that worked out worse than this whole Tebow thing? Like, if he goes to Jacksonville, they're interesting every week, they're competitive. Like, we said this at the time. And instead, Tebow goes to the Jets. They're not using him right. It's ruined Sanchez's life. The Jets are terrible. Jacksonville's terrible.
Looking at it from Tebow's standpoint, it's fine because he's not exposed yet as not being a
Oh, you're saying he's still a commodity?
Yeah. He's exactly where he needs to be. But that could still happen. I mean, he probably will go to Jacksonville, don't you think?
That team needs to move. They shouldn't have a team.
Yeah.
They just shouldn't. It's okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad city. Some cities just shouldn't have a team.
The new owner's looking into loopholes in the contract. Like, this can't be right. There's no way I bought this team. Arizona and Atlanta.
I have Arizona by 8.5. I don't feel good about it.
Atlanta.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, you said Arizona.
No, I meant Atlanta.
Sorry. Yeah, I said 8 and it's 10, so you get that one.
That's too high.
It's too high, I'm telling you. Not
it's
that
too
I love
high.
Arizona, but this Atlanta team's not that great.
Kind of like the Cards in a dome as big underdogs.
Coming off a bye, right?
Yeah, little Patrick Peterson, maybe some Fitz.
Yeah.
Why do you think Atlanta is so bad? It's a weird thing about them because they have Gonzalez, they have Julio Jones, they have Roddy White, and it's first down and goal from like a yard and a half.
Couldn't get in.
But did you think I was watching and thinking they're not going to get in. They're going to screw this up.
No, I thought
there's
so
something
too.
about them that you feel like they're not going to come through in these short down situations.
I said they're going to go at least till 4th down, and then maybe they'll get lucky or something.
It's a weird thing. I don't know if the stats back it up or what. Just from watching them, just from my experience of watching them, I had this weird feeling they weren't going to get it.
Yeah, they need
when that guy got tackled.
Interference call. They need to benefit from a pass interference call on 1st and goal from the 1 to keep it going, I think.
It does seem like teams are just like, yeah, Michael Turner's nothing's going to happen if you hand him the ball. So you got to figure out a plan B.
Yep.
But anyway, if they don't fix that, they're not doing anything in the playoffs.
No, it's always the same thing with them. Yeah. Cincinnati. I mean, weren't they more of a no huddle team and like strike early and often type thing.
Yeah.
Get up 14-0. That's how they'd win their game. I don't know. I think they've gone back to the same old Falcons. Cincy at KC. Great game.
Wow, can you cross the Bengals off yet?
4-5.
Because this is a win. So
Listen,
that's
we bet them to win the division. I like it.
Hold on, I'm looking at their schedule really quick. So they win this because KC's not winning again this year. 5-5. Home for Oakland, 6-5. At San Diego, winnable.
Mm-hmm.
Home for Dallas, week 14. At Philly and Nick Foles, week 15, right when they'll be carrying the Andy Reid fire him signs. Week 16 at Pittsburgh,
tough.
Week 17 home for Baltimore.
That's tough.
Could they go 10-6? They're not very good. I'm going to say no, but it's at least we're talking about like their last 3 losses were they lost to Denver, respectable by 8.
Mm-hmm.
Lost to Pittsburgh by 7, again respectable. Pittsburgh's good. Blew that Cleveland game. That was a weird game. Lost to Miami by 4. So they were on a 4-game losing streak.
I imagine them more as the team we saw yesterday than as the team we saw them lose to Denver with. But they don't run the ball, right? Like they don't.
Not really.
Zimmers gets that defense up for some of these games. But as long as they don't run the ball, it's gonna be tough.
It is one of those teams that when sometimes they'll just AJ Green will make a play and all of a sudden you feel like they're a legit team because he's like what would you rank the receivers? Calvin Johnson clearly lost the top spot this year, even though he had a big game yesterday, but it was meaningless stats. I think I might put AJ Green first.
I might put Brandon Marshall first.
Really?
Yeah, that guy makes big plays when you need him most, I think.
I think I would put AJ Green first.
Mm-hmm. He does make it look easy, AJ Green. I feel like he can get open every time, like you do Calvin Johnson. But
and he's also playing with a relative handicap because he's playing with a quarterback who is not one of the top 15 quarterbacks in the league, and he's putting up his stats week after week.
Red hair too. He takes that helmet off. Forget it.
Yeah, I think I would put him first. Danny Amendola second, maybe, after you watch that game yesterday.
I love him.
Guy with a broken collarbone who almost had the 80-yard game-winning touchdown, and they screwed it up.
I would have punched all my offensive linemen in the face if I came back and saw like an illegal shift or whatever the penalty was in overtime.
All right, let's keep going.
Cincy at KC?
Oh, yeah. Bengals by 4.5, I have.
Yeah, you're going to get this. I said 6. It's 3.5.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does? Bad. Like everybody thinks Cincinnati's going to win, but they have to lay just more than a field goal.
Every week there's been one game where the line was too high with a team that wasn't. Like yesterday, it was Miami giving 6 to Tennessee, and you just go, oh yeah, I'll lay the 6 with Miami, but it's like not a trustworthy team. Yeah. That's been the one big gambling lesson of this year is do not lay more than 3 points with a team that you don't totally trust.
Right.
Or at least like half trust.
How bad did you want to kick yourself for not taking the Colts over the Jaguars? I know it's got the Thursday night mystique and everything, but then it's like, yeah, of course the Colts are 3.5 better.
I got to be honest. I never feel bad about getting a Thursday night game wrong because you don't know what you're picking. Like you might pick a team that's just exhausted and banged up, or you might pick a team that that you just don't know. I feel like it's like flipping a coin.
Yeah, it's true.
Plus, like if Jacksonville had intercepted that pass in the first quarter and they were able to get the lead, like who knows?
Closer. All right, Philly at Washington.
I have the Redskins favored by 3 over the Eagles.
I had 3 as well, and it's only 1.5.
Jesus.
And they're both 3-6, so the loser is out. But both their seasons are over. It doesn't really matter. 3-6.
Would you say the Eagles are one of the 5 worst teams in the league?
Well, let's look at that.
I'll give you here. So Jacksonville's definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City's definitely. Mm-hmm. So now you're looking at the Eagles are in a group with the Panthers, Browns, Redskins, Bills, Raiders, and Jets as the other worst teams.
Yeah. Oh, man. Are they worse? They might be worse than Carolina and Cleveland. They only beat Cleveland by a point at home. All
right, let's go through it. Neutral field.
Uh-huh.
Neutral field, your life depends on it. Eagles versus Browns. I think I take the Browns.
Was that 14-13? Was that week 1? in Philly, and that's when Philly was probably playing their best. I think I'd take the Browns too.
I'd take the Redskins over them.
I think the Redskins are better than them. Yeah.
I'd take the Bills over them.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. They have no identity, this Eagles team. Like you said, these defensive studs are just they don't show up. And
I'd take the Panthers over them. The Raiders and Jets, I don't know. That's almost like a pick-em line. I think they're one of the 5 worst.
you put them like in the top 3, I think, it sounds like. They really could be.
I think the Jets are worse. The Jets are terrible.
The Jets, well, let's get to them because they're the next game. Jets at St. Louis.
Do you think the Jets are like 3-10 in their last 13 games, or 3-9 in their last 12, or something?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, they haven't been good for a while. They haven't been good for almost a year.
And they're an automatic pick against when you look, right? You're not going to take the Jets at St. Louis.
No, I need to see them win. I'm just not taking them. I have the Rams giving 4 points to the Jets.
I think we split this. I said 3, and it's 3.5.
Oh, that's what I had. Why do I change my pick?
I don't know. It's too easy to pick against the Jets nowadays.
3. Well, but it's weird because they carry this weird respect.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, you watch them play, and every skill position every single skill position guy they have is below average. I mean, literally, quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, every single guy they have is below average for their position.
I mean, you get to 3rd and 8, you might as well just send the punt team out, right? They don't have a play for 3rd and 8 anymore. I don't care if it's Tebow or Sanchez or what.
If you were another team, would you try to get Sanchez?
What other team? Like Troy State? I don't know.
Let's say if you were the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I actually do think that's an upgrade for them.
Would you do it if you were the Arizona Cardinals?
Yeah. I think there's only like those two, and maybe.
Well, and both of them are drafting number 1 picks. So Mark Sanchez, and so will the Jets. Mark Sanchez probably will not be an NFL starter next year.
No, it doesn't look like it. But I don't think they keep Tebow around for that. I think it's a whole changing of a guard.
And the coach is gone, and the GM's gone, and then they'll spend a lot of money on somebody.
So Green Bay, Detroit's the best of that early batch, right? And
really, that's the best.
I think
Detroit
that's
stinks.
By far, yeah.
Really?
There's nothing else really.
I like Falcons Cardinals.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I just think that's gonna be a fun game. I like the vibe of that game.
All right, and then 3 late afternoon games: New Orleans at Oakland.
Oh yeah. Yes, I'm gonna say Saints by the dreaded 3.5.
Oh, I said 4, and it's 4.5. I thought you were gonna nail it when you said dreaded.
Oh my God.
Now this could be the trap game where everyone's on the New Orleans, the Saints bandwagon, and the Raiders
all-time trapperoo.
Yeah.
No question.
I'm drawing a trap right there, right next to that, so I remember not to play it. All right, San Diego at Denver.
Trapperooski. Possible a trap within a trap of the Broncos are playing too well, they're due, and then they just kill San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Broncos by 7, and I'm going to tease them with 4 different teams on this Week 11 slate. Yeah.
I had 7 as well. It's 7.5.
I'm still going to tease them with everybody on that slate.
Now, this was Monday night like 3 weeks ago, right? They won the big comeback game?
I don't even think Peyton Manning can be called the Noodle anymore. The Noodle's gone. He's just he's zipping it again.
You know, he's dipping it. He's starting to, he's got that swagger, and he's like running up the stats too at the end of the game.
Looks good.
Scary, and their defense is playing rock solid.
And also, you could make a case that the 2 receivers that he has with the Colts are the best combo that he's had in a while.
With the Colts?
I mean, with the Broncos.
Oh yeah.
Because with the Colts, it was basically Reggie Wayne it was Reggie Wayne and a bunch of dudes, and you never knew which one to start in fantasy. And
Pierre Garçon was good. How far back are you going?
Was he good for a whole year though? Remember, it was like Collie was good, but he got hurt. Garçon was good, but then he got hurt.
Gonzalez, he had a lot. Yeah.
It was like you could never knew which 2 were the guys.
Now, what do you think with Norv Turner? That's the only reason I might not love this Broncos team on the teaser or whatever. And then we never win teasers. But Norv Turner's starting to get ornery in the press conferences. That's something you don't really see from him. Andy Reid, too, a little bit.
The only thing is, like, why do you fire your coach now? Like, so you just, what's the purpose of it?
No, I know.
Unless, like, Gruden or Cowher. See, if I were any of these teams that needed a coach, that Oregon coach, I would just name your price, Oregon
Kelly,
coach.
Yeah.
Just name it. Just what number? 50? Okay. Done.
Wow.
I'm in.
50 what?
$50 million.
Oh, my God. Look at you.
Jim Harbaugh, who I think settled for like under 30.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in all seriousness, what is he worth to that team? You could make a case he's worth like 12, 13, 14 million dollars a year.
Yeah.
Like what he's actually worth versus what they're paying. Like
right.
these teams overpay for guys like Asamoah, and Albert Hainsworth and all these dudes. And meanwhile, like, coaches are the third most important thing you can have behind a quarterback and actually maybe second.
What about Mike Brown? Mike Brown would be better than Norv Turner right now. Why don't they just switch?
That would be interesting.
All right, now your game. And they flexed this to late afternoon.
I know.
Indy at New England.
I'm hitting this exact.
All
Patriots by 7.5.
Oh, you went low, my friend. I said 8.5. It's 9.5, and worth every point.
That's stupid.
And I win the week. I'm up 9-6 with 2 left. Wow.
Bad week for me, or bad year for me.
I think
England I'm never the same after that England trip.
It's sort of what it's funny because the Patriots were sort of not the same from the England trip.
Yeah.
Right. I would blame that for it, but I think there's a clampdown game for your team. I think like Brady's gonna say we're gonna score as many points as we can so that Andrew Luck doesn't get the headlines Monday.
Unfortunately, I watch the Patriots every week.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're capable of a clampdown game.
You don't think you could score as many? I know the defense is suspect, but I still feel you could get it together.
They're gonna score between 24 and 40 points every game.
Mm-hmm.
They can't stop the other team from moving the ball.
Right.
They have no pass rush, and they have the worst secondary guys in the league, and everybody they bring in is terrible. Literally everybody. Like, the Steve Gregory guy was supposed to shore our secondary. He had such a bad game that Henshey, Hench is prone to over-exaggerations from time to time.
Yeah, he's still like that? Yeah.
Yeah, he still does that. He thought Steve Gregory played the single worst game in the history of the Patriots franchise
Wow.
yesterday. Yeah.
That's great. And I bet he was watching tapes of the 77 team, too.
Yeah. So that just put that, I mean, obviously it wasn't that bad, but
yeah,
that's how bad Steve Gregory was yesterday. And by the way, was supposed to be the rock of the secondary, other than Patrick Chung. But it's like whoever we have back there just can't cover anybody. And then we can't tackle.
You have converted, say, McCourty, and there's a lot.
Spiller and Fred Jackson. And, like, if Fred Jackson doesn't fumble on the 1 yard line, the Pats probably lose yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But easier said than done. I just feel like, you do what you did against the Bills the first game, and none of this is a concern until January.
I do think the Colts have the Colts and Seahawks are the two teams, other than the Bucs, who just have their offenses come together. But it does seem like the Colts and Seahawks, two young teams that seem to be getting better as the season goes along.
Yeah.
And Luck is legitimately good.
And then Sunday night, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. Every year we love this game. People get hurt. People get carried off. Steelers by 3.5.
You got that exactly. Nice job.
Great. Moral victory.
I said 3. But yeah, let's do this right. No pink stuff, no throwbacks. Let Mother Nature whip us something good up,
Yeah.
But
just leave the guys on the field when they get hurt. Just step over them.
Yeah. I wish the Steelers would play their backups tonight so we could see a healthy version of both teams next Sunday night. And
well, that would be my fear for this Chiefs game tonight, because you want your team to be running on all cylinders for that Ravens game. That's your team. That's probably the number one rivalry right now.
Yeah, no, don't worry. It's set in stone. We go 2-1 on every 3-team teaser, so the Steelers have won.
Hey, Sal, you know what they're saying about Steelers-Ravens?
No, what?
There's no love lost between these two teams.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Apparently, no love has been lost at all.
I'd love to see ESPN do like a Sunday night whatever thing. Just like they found that there was love lost.
In 1982, there was love.
Yeah.
And now it's been lost.
Backup player, backup punter. Oh, I don't know. All right, Monday night, Chicago at San Francisco.
There's a line on this?
Campbell versus Kaepernick. I saw a line. Yep.
So we're saying no Cutler.
I think no Cutler, no Alex Smith.
Oh, Jesus. I'll go 49ers 5.5.
All right, you got that right. You fought back here. Actually, it was 5. I said 3. I went low on that.
I think Kaepernick's competent.
Yeah, competent and confident. I do like him.
Would you?
Backup.
Yeah, I might have him as my number 1 backup.
I still like the Bears unless Charles Tillman has to attend to another berth. Could happen.
Well, here's the thing about this game, and I agree with you. I think the points are enticing. It's basically, can their defense just prevent the Niners from doing anything? And the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
And then, can they make a special teams play? Yes. Do they need this game? Yes.
Mm.
So yeah, if the line is over 4, I think you have to look at Chicago.
A lot of yeses.
Campbell was. Have you ever seen anybody check down to more useless plays than Campbell did last night?
That was bad. He did throw long, right? I felt like somebody dropped a couple passes in there. You know? Was that Nick Foles? I don't know what. I can't remember what I'm watching anymore.
He checked down to Saul on Homeland. Did you watch those shows last night?
Of course.
That was a good Walking Dead. Nothing's going to happen this episode. We need to move things along. But next week's episode is going to be awesome.
I think last week's Walking Dead was the most effed up hour of television I've ever watched.
Yeah.
I turned to my wife. I'm like, what are we watching right now? It's just great and horrible at the same time.
Yeah, it was not a feel-good episode.
No.
Homeland,
you feel bad for Saul. I know you do.
It's getting a little wonky. I have a friend who is convinced and has been convinced since last year that ultimately Saul will be revealed as the mole.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I thought that last year a little bit, but what would have to happen? He's gone through a lot to be a double, quadruple agent if that's the case.
If you work backwards, it's kind of a compelling argument.
Yeah?
Oh, spoiler alert.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we're not. What are we spoiling? We're not spoiling anything.
We didn't say it. We don't know
Let's
what thing.
spoil one thing.
But I worry. The one thing I worry about is that the show becomes too much like 24. The last couple seasons of 24. You know, and I know it's the same creators and stuff, but
I guess my biggest criticism is that on the one hand, the show is operating under the premise that Brody is a big enough hero that he could run as the VP on a ticket, even though he's been a congressman for like a week.
Right.
But then on the other hand, Brody can be gone for the entire day, go and find the Gettysburg dude, then chase him out of a gas station, murder him in the woods, and then bury the body.
They could have do this. There's no one else they can get to move this guy.
He can bury the body. He can do all this stuff, and at no point would Brody's fame come in. Like nobody is like, hey, it's the weirdest thing. Remember that Brody guy?
Mm-hmm.
Saw him running in the woods.
I like that his wife calls him Brody. Everybody calls him Brody, even
That's
his
great.
wife.
She won't call him Nick.
No, that's so Ed Norton and Trixie like. Love it.
Do you feel like her and Mike are gonna end up together? Because I do.
Well, whatever gets her naked again. I think that was the only time we saw her fully nude. But, I mean, come on, we're week 8 already, and it hasn't happened. And they're sort of, they don't like each other now. So I don't know what's going to happen with that.
They should just put her in the coming attractions each week, even if she's not going to get naked.
Yes.
Just for all the horny Showtime viewers. Like, just have her in a bathtub.
That's right.
Just loop the same bathtub shot. But,
I'm with you.
Yeah, it's a great show. And really, like, we're going to look back at this Walking Dead Homeland, football. It's just an amazing 14 hours of TV, and I pay no attention to my kids at all.
I know. You have to pretend to. I know you passed on a soccer game. I had to go to a soccer game right around 1. There were 3 games coming down to a wire, and I didn't even watch the stupid soccer game. I had it my iPad and watched.
Yeah, you're just staring at your iPad.
Sunday ticket the whole time. So,
yeah, I skipped my daughter's soccer game for the first time in 2 years and paid the consequences with a heart-wrenching Pats game that I didn't even enjoy, and then I got killed in my picks and I lost my 3-teamer. So next time I go to the game.
We have to figure out a way to bet on soccer is the way to do it.
She wants to come on the podcast and talk about the hockey lockout.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you should do it.
Might do it. All right, Cousin Sal. Plug
All right,
something.
Jimmy Kimmel Live tonight. Jessica Lange. Later in the week, Christine Applegate, Martin Short, the great Mel Brooks, and
Mel Brooks.
Lots of terrific bands I've never heard of. And my Grantland blog at the end of the week, I cleaned up on the props. I had 15 to 21 points scored in the Texans-Bears game. That was easy. Doug Martin under 89.5 yards. Jets under 16 points. 3-0 with my best bets, and I still lost a ton of money on that stupid season.
Last thing, a couple readers have emailed. They didn't like Howard Stern's comments about Jimmy's supporting his cousins. They wondered why you didn't fire back on the podcast.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah, I should have, right?
Yeah. You can still do it if you want.
I'm in a weird spot with Stern here because Jimmy loves him, and I love him too, and I grew up with him. And I would visit Jimmy in Vegas every summer, and I'd have to make a tape of Stern because he didn't get Stern when he was on NBC in New York. So I'd make a tape every summer and bring it to him. And so we go, oh, geez, this is such a thing because Jimmy's like, you would be smart to say hello to Howard Stern before the show. So I'm like, all right, I know he's going to hate this, but I will, and I go. And I'm in and out of there in a minute and a half. And what does Stern do the next day? He talks about how unprofessional Jimmy has his family in the dressing room. But I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you with the Stern thing. He comes on, he craps on the band, he craps on our show being on at midnight. Meanwhile, he's on satellite radio, and I'm responding on a podcast. So where does that put anyone?
I love Stern back in the 80s. I did not like his performance on the show.
Yeah.
And I felt like he was... It was not done in a friendly manner. But what do I know? I'm just sitting home half asleep watching. Yeah, but don't come after the cousins coming in the dressing room. That's really when you cross the line. Yeah.
Meanwhile, he has Lisa G. He has her radio person following Jimmy around every step of the way. Talk about making it uncomfortable.
All right. The cousin. We'll talk to you next Monday.
Good job by you, Billy.
Good job to you. All right, before we go, the NHL lockout. This isn't funny anymore. Like now we're looking at it. This goes into December. They might actually cancel the season, and they've canceled like 20 games. And the Simmons family's starting to freak out a little bit. We love going to Kings games. My daughter's upset. She's home today because it's Veterans Day. She wanted to say something to the owners and the players. Here you go.
Owners and Kings, you better come together right now or my face is going to turn to a frown. I need that Kings games on now or I'm going to be so mad that I'll stay in my room for 2 weeks. And I'll never come out until that Kings game starts. I just miss going to the Kings games. You come back right now or I'm going to stay in my room for a month.
I don't know if that's going to solve the lockout, but a 7.5-year-old hockey fan weighing in. We will see you tomorrow on the BS Report.
So I get to sign off. Whoa.
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNradio.com.
Peace out.